Welcome to the Coaching Table. I'm Thomas Thompson, Executive Leadership Coach and Consultant with Lead Self, Lead Others. And the Coaching Table is a weekly conversation I've curated to help leaders like you have the conversations that you're not having, so we can help you lead yourself well so you can really lead others well. And today's conversation centers around the word selfish. When does a leader need to be selfish? In John chapter 13, Jesus is gathering his disciples together for some final lessons before he's about to leave them and go to the cross. And tonight the lesson is about servant leadership. And so he wraps his towel, after gathering all the disciples, he gets this towel around his waist, he gathers a basin full of water, and he begins to wash the feet of the disciples. Now, this was a custom in the Middle East, and normally a servant would show up and do that, or the lowest person on the totem pole in the group would do that. But tonight, it's not a servant that's doing it, it's their leader. And as he comes to the disciple named Peter, Peter balks. He doesn't want his leader to wash his feet. This is not something he thinks he wants or needs, and so he leans into Jesus and says, "Lord, you shall never wash my feet." Now imagine if Jesus had tried to serve Peter the way that Peter wanted to be served. "Oh, Peter, yeah, my bad, sorry. Listen, I'll just skip you. I'll just adjust everything in this plan tonight so I can meet your needs." That's crazy, right? That didn't happen. That wouldn't have happened. Jesus knew that his mission depended on handing over his leadership to these men. And he had to hand over to them not just the heart of being a servant, but the resolve and the importance of what the mission was about. So Jesus tells him quite frankly, "If I don't wash your feet, you're not on my team." So Peter takes that for a second, relents, and then says, "Yes, go ahead, go ahead." And he allows Jesus to lead him even in a way that he didn't want. Now let me ask you a question as we think about this passage. Did Jesus do what Peter wanted or what was needed? Jesus had to do in that moment what seems selfish to us as servant leaders. Instead of trying to solve the problem of Peter's happiness, he solved the problem of what Jesus needed. Jesus needed to teach this lesson. Jesus needed to wash everyone's feet. Jesus needed to do what he knew needed to be done, not only for the rest of the disciples, but for the mission, even though Peter didn't want it. Aren't you glad? I am, that Jesus had this clarifying conversation with Peter. This was a make it or break it moment where Peter had to decide, am I on this team or am I off this team? Here's the key lesson I want you to pick up from this passage. Even though Jesus put himself in the posture of a servant, he never left his position of leading them. Good leaders, listen, good leaders are always wanting to serve. This is a great passage for leaders to absorb. I want to serve those I lead. I want to listen to them. I want to make adjustments. I want to ask for forgiveness when I failed. I want to be humble. I want to have this posture of servanthood towards those I lead. But good leaders never want to give away the fact that they've been entrusted with carrying out a mission. And sometimes that means leading and serving people in ways they don't want to be led or served. I have made the painful mistake as a people pleaser of thinking I can lead people by never taking them, but I never have to take them where they don't want to go. I can lead them in a way it's always what they want. I have spent way too many years spinning my wheels, standing in front of people like Peter who say, I don't want where you're leading me. But sometimes you need to get selfish as a leader. Sometimes you need to get selfish in this way. You need to ask, what does my team really need from me? What do I really need to lead them well? And those things may come at odds against an individual on your team. What does the mission need from me? Here's your coaching table question I want you to wrestle with this week. I want you to ask this question. What do I need to lead my team? And I want you to set aside the needs of what you think people need or what they've wanted from you. And I want you to get really selfish with that for a moment. What do I need to lead my team? That may mean that you only schedule meetings in the afternoons because that's when your energy is at the right point for that. It may mean that you ask your team to communicate with you in ways that help you do your job, even though it may be more challenging for some of them. It may mean that you need to have some of these clarifying conversations. Hey, this is what it means to be on this team. This is how I'm going to lead you. I need you to understand that. Now listen, this kind of stuff may feel selfish as we look at a passage like John 13 and think, but I really want to bend over and bend down and stoop, and I want to serve my team this way. Yeah, have that posture. But sometimes what that means is that you need to get a little selfish about what you need and about what the mission needs. And I want to encourage you, when you are clear about what you need, that helps your team see clearly what they need to do. What do I need to do to lead my team? What do I need to lead my team? I'd love to have you wrestle with that question a little bit, and I'd love to hear your answer to that. You can scroll down and tap my email and send me an email, and let's have a little conversation about this. I'd love to get into looking at what that looks like for you to lead sometimes a little selfishly. Well, I'll see you again next Monday with another conversation about what it means to lead ourselves well. And until then, you're always welcome at the coaching table.